All right. Well, first off, I want to say thanks for everybody who's on right now. I know it was kind of a short notice, but TW had talked to several of us on the leadership side and thought that just maybe some sort of avenue for us to maybe get to know each other a little bit more and maybe be able to communicate a little bit of where we're at, where we've been, and where we think we're going with based on what little knowledge we have right now from the game. So um, right now we have on this meeting we've got myself, which is Vorda. We've got TW, Aleshna, Biff Tech, Grizz, Lazy, Mushy, maybe, Nam, and Zelvelios. I'll announce anybody who joins us along the way here. So first off, if you have not read any of the introductions or the about chaos theory threads and different postings we have around the site here, just kind of want to very briefly touch on the founders of the group, which are myself, Assad, and TW. And a very brief history of kind of where we've been and the different things we've done together. So first off, I'm Vorda, aka Chris, aka V, aka probably a lot of other names, along the way, but we'll leave those out of here for now. But I came into Final Fantasy probably about 10 years ago, and it was actually by accident. I was at Best Buy, wanted a game, saw a nice, pretty white box, picked it up, had no idea what it was except it was Final Fantasy, and I heard cool things about it. Installed it, figured out it was a online game, and the rest is kind of history. Very first night of gameplay, and I met Erider, and he's registered on the site. He's in and out of being active as far as forum goes, but he was actually the first dude I met in the game, and we've been kind of playing through the games ever since. We within the first couple of weeks of playing the game, actually he and I both started the same evening, and so within the first couple of weeks of playing together, got into a link shell, stayed with that group probably for a good 6 to 9 months, and it morphed into another link shell, which as most of you have probably experienced through your all's gaming careers, things just are always changing, which isn't a bad thing, and through those changes just continue to meet more and more people, and ultimately we ended up creating Chaos Theory, and the rest is kind of history with respect to all the things we've done over the course of the years that we've been together, which, like I said, it's been somewhere around 10 years. I don't know the exact time frame, but over the course of that time period, we've had a core group of people. T-Dub has been around for pretty much that entire time, as well as Saad, myself, Erider, and Vineyard, Bane, who is, I can't remember his name. TW, do you know his name right now?
I think it's
Lopness Monster. That's right. And there's others, but for the most part, that's kind of the true core that has been for the entire duration of this time. So at the height of our shells, and at the height of, I guess, I shouldn't say height, because Final Fantasy XI is constantly changing and whatnot. But at the height of our shells, we actually had 3 shells. The primary shell was Chaos Theory, and it was founded upon really just being a social shell. And in order to kind of keep and preserve that intent of that shell, what we did is we had 2 additional sister shells. One of those was Chaos Rising, which was our Dynamis shell, and then we also had Lifestream, which was our endgame shell, primarily Sea Sky, and when we could, we got into some of the Kings and stuff like that. At the height of all 3 of those shells going together, we actually had somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't have the exact number, but it's in the neighborhood of about 125 to 150 distinct members. And I say distinct because we did have some members who were in all 3 of those, but we did also have some that were only in one or the other of the other shells. So um, it was a pretty large undertaking. I had different leadership individuals in each of those different shells doing various things, and I'm kind of touching on this just so you guys can understand where I've been from a leadership standpoint. And history can it gives you experience on what not to do. It doesn't always tell you what you need to do. And so, I've gone through a lot of experiences leading all those different shells, different types of people, different types of leadership strategies, and understanding that depending on what's required for those different situations or the people that you have involved, different strategies are needed for each of those things. So that was a pretty large learning experience. And one of the things that and I'll touch a little bit about this, some of my beliefs and my leadership strategies as we run through this, and I'm not going to keep you all night on this, but I think it's good for you guys to understand some of the things that I believe in, so that you guys know if you're like in the right home or not, and that's ultimately what we want. So one of my beliefs is the entire running of the shell should not be through just one person. And if I'm doing my job correctly, then the shell can run very smoothly with the people that we have in the leadership spots doing not only what they need to do, but when we have leadership deficiencies or we need, when life happens, that those leaders are able to step into other roles as needed. So, there's some cross training, there's some trust. Not only amongst the leadership team, but also amongst the shell members, to believe in those leaders when we're needing to make those either changes or adaptations on the fly. So I think that's important for me to say because sometimes there's perceptions that the leader or the owner of the shell needs to be on 24/7. Life happens, and there is real life, not just the game. So, I mean, I can tell you, I'm not going to be on 24/7, but I can also tell you that, I do want to have, when and where possible, a leadership presence, as much as possible, but also understand that that's not going to happen every day, every minute of the day, all the time. So, just part of our charter is real life takes precedence, and I want to stress that. So those are some of the things that I've experienced, and that's why I'm bringing these up, just to kind of set expectations with everybody. So like I said, in each of the different shells, I had different leaders, and I did that strategically because I did not want to have leaders in roles in each of the different groups all at the same time. That's going to do nothing but stress those individuals out and burn them out. I also had points in time where I would rotate people, not only to kind of not burn them out, but also to give other members of the shell leadership opportunities. Something else that I believe in, and I'll touch a little bit more on this as we go in the section of looking forward. But one of the things I do believe in is giving people the opportunity to lead, and that comes in a lot of different fashions, and a lot of different perspectives. One of the first things that I firmly believe in is, if you want to be a leader, you don't have to have a title to be a leader. And if you really want to be a true leader in the shell, and I know that there's several people, even on the attendance list here tonight, that have put in applications, and I know that there's also some who have not yet put in applications because they're kind of wanting to see, what leadership team we have right now, and is this going to be a good fit? And I think that's awesome. And on that same note, I want to make sure that the people that we put in those leader positions officially are a good fit as well. So it's not just a one-way, test of is this the right fit? It's a two-way. It's a dialogue. for lack of a better term, I want to be able to interview, not only just on a personal level, but I also want to see you in action. And that's what I mean by that I want to be able to see people leading without even having a title. Because if you can lead and gain the respect of the shell members without a title, you're going to be an effective leader with a title. And that also shows that you're able to take initiative, you're able to rally people around you, and you're able to make things happen, regardless of what official responsibilities have been given to you. And the other reason why I believe that that's an important trait for leaders in the shell is I had mentioned earlier that I need to ensure that the people who are in the leadership teams are able to step in those other roles when and where they see it's needed, and that's the initiative factor. So these are all things that I've experienced in the past leadership of all these different shells, and so in the chaos theory shell, which was the social shell, TW was the primary recruiter. He was kind of the primary, hey guys, let's do things in the game, and getting kind of event coordination. As I mentioned earlier, our Dynamic Shell, which was Chaos Rising, Dark Wonder or DW, he was my tactics officer. He ran, did all the research, ran the combat tactics for the shell, and I kind of fielded all the, for lack of a better term, HR or the drama related stuff. And then I would fill in for him if he couldn't be on from a tactics standpoint. And then Skywise. I had another individual who was doing those things. There was other roles we had, and we would morph those as needed for each of those different activities, such as attendance, taking points, who was calling out equipment drops, and who was getting what, those types of things. So I'm expecting we're going to have those types of roles. There's a lot of things we don't know in the game right now, so I don't know what those roles are right now. So from a current leadership standpoint, we've got 5 named leaders right now. Obviously myself, we've got TW and Sod, and again, us 3 are kind of what I would call the founders for V2 of Final Fantasy XIV here. We added, about 2.5 weeks ago, we added Arok and Myson as moderators on the forums. Primary purpose for that was we truly want to be in line with respect to the beta and communications about beta, and it was getting out of hand, and there was no way the 3 of us would be able to, for lack of a better term, police the forums. So we needed to get some additional people who were very, very active on the forums and would be able to field those things collectively with all of us together. So that's why we did that. We did it very quickly because there was a very dire need for it. I know some of you had experienced some challenges with maybe some posts being deleted or censored or whatnot. I'm going to take responsibility for that because I set a very clear directive out for Myson and Arok on this, and it was really 2 things: keep people in line with beta, and keep people in line with the topics of each of the threads, and I really didn't elaborate too much more on that. Now, this was actually something that I did not have experience with in the past because we didn't really have true moderators of any of our past forums, so I didn't anticipate the potential backlash of people not liking posts being censored or deleted, and I didn't make any proactive communication to everybody, so I apologize for that. Lessons learned. I'll be more proactive in communications on things like that, even if they're last minute. I'll do my best at getting those things out to you. So I apologize for anybody who was affected by that or maybe got a little bit of a bad taste in your mouth for what may have been censored. That said, Leadership applications are still open, and I know that was a question that TW has had. So leadership applications are still open, and they're open because we want to know who is interested in leadership roles. And as I mentioned earlier, kind of the process that I want to go through on this is um, uh, one, understanding who wants to be in those roles. Two, having some personal dialogue, not only with myself and those who are interested, but also with what would be the peer team, so the rest of the current leadership. Um, I think there's a fit not only with the person, but also with the team, and we all need to understand what that dynamic is. And then the third component of that is really being able to actively see in game how you're going to field that leadership. And unfortunately, I'm not in game with the beta right now. So I'm personally not able to see that, and I need to, and I want to be able to see that in addition to just the personal interactions. We don't have right now with respect to the prior CT members. TW is the only one on right now. I'm expecting Saad to join with us, as I mentioned earlier. Myson is on spring break, and so he's not with us tonight. A-Rock is also not with us tonight. He is on vacation with his wife in Brazil to visit their family. So he's, and this has been probably going on for, TW help me out, probably about 2 weeks. So, when you see him online, on the forums, most of his posts on the forums are from his phone. He does have his computer down there, but he's not able to get on it very often because of all the traveling and family gatherings that they've been doing. So, and then Saad, you may or may not know, he actually is just recently had a new child, and he's also just recently moved. So he's had a lot of real life going on as well. So I'm telling you all those things because I know it's been communicated to me that there's been some concern around some of the leaders not being present. And I just want everybody to understand this is one of those times, unfortunately, from the timing, it's not great, but this is one of those times where real life has happened. It's not the norm. But real life's happened, and some of the people that do have access have not been able to get in game because of real life. So where are we at? Obviously, with Final Fantasy the game, we're in beta. Hey, I think Saad's getting ready to join us. All right, Saad has joined us. Hey, Saad, I just walked through background of CT, kind of the different shells, a little bit about myself, my leadership, some, not all, but some of my leadership philosophy, and I was walking through each of the leaders, kind of touched on what your real life items have been going on with New Kid and moving, and some of the reasons why you haven't been on. So we're kind of to the point where you want to give the group maybe a little bit of background of yourself, where you've come from in the game, some of your background, and any other thoughts you want to share with the group with respect to chaos theory, leadership, and whatnot.
Yeah, no problem. Hey guys, how's it going? I guess okay. So yeah, my real life name is Sean. My history with MMOs is my first MMO was Final Fantasy XI, and I absolutely loved it. And I played it for, I don't know, 8, 9 years, 10 years, something like that. Let's see. I met Vorda and some other CT members, I don't know, probably about 6, 7 years ago, and I just instantly connected with them and could just tell that they were kindred spirits, and really loved playing with them. I think what I appreciated the most was there was just a safety playing with them, where if you had something real life come up, you knew that it was okay to go ahead and do it, and I don't know, there's just no drama with these guys, and it just was something that has made me stick around with them for as long as I have. So let's see. I don't know, my real life situation, I guess Chris has already mentioned it. Been married for about, what is it now, 4 years? I gotta remember that. We have two kids. One of them is just 3 weeks old, and so that's seriously cut into any playtime I have, which is just fine. I used to be pretty hardcore, but now I probably am more of a casual player with reliable time in the late night to commit, but not much besides that, just because of family stuff. So, anyways, yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know a whole bunch of more people, and um, yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about where we're at. Obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we're in the very early stages of beta with the game, and what that does is it causes some of us, probably more than some of us, a great deal of frustration that we're not all able to get in, experience things together. And try to gain some traction on, growing the shell, growing the camaraderie, starting to build teams and whatnot. There's a lot of limitations. I know, even though I'm not in game, I know that there are, even in from a game mechanics standpoint, and I'm granted, I'm not in the beta, so I'm not violating anything, but I want to be careful on riding that line. But I know that there's even challenges, as it is right now within the game, in the mechanics, communication mechanics in the game, that that pose some challenges, even as it is today. So my point on bringing this to light is I really want to try very hard, with those of you who do have access. I want to try very hard to make sure everybody understands that we all don't have access. Not all the leaders have access, and that is not in any way, shape, or form a precursor to what reality is going to be once we all do have access. So I want to give a level of confidence to you guys that, you know, the absence of any leadership that's not going to be that is not going to be the case. In fact, um, once we all do have access, the very first thing that I am going to do, and we need to do as a group, is figure out who are the in-game leaders. And excuse me. So how we do that is, those steps that I laid out earlier. Interactions with me, interactions with the peer leadership team, and in-game observation and uh, observation of those applicants. So that'll be the absolute very first thing once we all have access. What that means is everybody here on this in attendance here tonight, and anybody not here, who hears this later and has interest, is a candidate. Okay, whether you're an old CT member or brand new to the shell, and I think that's very important, and I want everybody to understand that as well. I am extremely open to new members being on the leadership team. I think that says, and I think that should convey a level of confidence to you guys as well, in that we're open to not just being the old school, being in the leadership team. In fact, from my perspective, this is a new game. We're several years from the past, and I know that there's new people in the shell that bring a different level of energy, different level of experience, and quite a bit of what I would consider good. Karma is probably not the right word, but just good energy to the group, and I think would add very good energy to the leadership team. And that's just in the very short amount of interaction that I've been able to have with those individuals, just chatting on the forums and here on TeamSpeak. So from an ongoing leadership standpoint, that's the very first thing that we're going to hit once we all get access to the game. You might ask the question, well, why don't you do it before? And just candidly speaking, I personally want to see the interaction because I've had the experience of seeing people and how they interact and how they can rally people, and I know exactly what I want to see, and I want to personally be witness to those things. So that is why I'm not going to put anybody in those online positions, online official online leadership positions until I'm personally able to observe. That does not mean, and that should not discourage any of you currently who are wanting to be in those spots to not be vying for those positions. TW's in, Sod's in there when he can, and some of the other individuals are in there when they're going to tell me, they're going to give me some feedback, and not necessarily paint what my decision should be, but they will be able to give me some initial preliminary feedback. When I have that, that'll help me focus on what I need to look at in those individuals that I need to look at immediately once I get access. If nobody understands where I'm coming from on that, we just bring it up in the Q&A session that we'll have here in just a moment. So again, just to kind of reiterate, I want to make sure everybody understands we all can't get in the game. We want to, but I need everybody to understand that the lack of in-game leadership right now is not representative of what will be. Okay. So throughout this conversation, I've touched on a lot of the things that I wanted to touch on with respect to where we're going. I've touched on how we're going about looking to add new leaders. We're looking at adding both new members and old members to the leadership spots. I'm not partial to one or the other. What I'm partial to is having the right people in the right spots. I don't care who they are, but they need to be the right people in the right spots. Looking for leadership qualities from individuals. I need positive people. I need people who, are not drama queens and do not foster drama. I have a day job, and there's enough drama with that. I'm not going to come home to relax, get on a game, and have to deal with a bunch of drama. I'm just not going to do it, and neither should any of us. It's a game. It should be fun, and if we're having to do drama and deal with drama, at night when we're trying to have fun, we've got the wrong people in the shell, and those individuals should not be here because this should be fun.
Sorry to interrupt you, Vorted. You got much more you're gonna cover here?
Is the beta getting ready to go?
It's going to be soon here, but I'm just wondering how much longer you got.
No, it's not too much longer. I thought I had about 15 minutes. I'm not going to take all that because I wanted some Q&A time. So positive, need to show initiative, no drama, and probably above everything else is mindset needs to be what's best for the shell and not what's best for you personally. So as we're leading up to all of us being able to be in the game together, I want to encourage anybody who's interested to be actively working towards that. Make sure you have your apps in. I'm going to be talking with individuals between now and whenever I can get in the game. I'll be getting feedback from the rest of the leadership group who is in game and who can get in game, and then also those individuals will have some interaction, some one-on-one interaction, just to kind of see where your all's heads are and where your thoughts are and how you fit in with us. All right, so that's really what I wanted to touch on. I know there's a couple things that were brought up that I need to add to this. So first off, one of the questions that I had was, are we going to do static groups? So there's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of unknowns in the game right now. We started out that we were going to be a link shell. As we're getting more information, it sounds like it might be leaning towards maybe a free company or whatever they're going to call that. I don't know what that means. We don't have a lot of information on that. So I just, from an expectation setting standpoint, just everybody should understand that this may turn from just being a link shell into a free company. And once we know more information, we can figure out how to react to that and how to get that information out to you guys and what it means. Part of that could include static groups. If the structure of how you've progressed with your free company is with a bunch of small groups, it may be that we have team leads and static groups and people who own certain group members and work together for whatever we need to do for those free companies. If it turns out that it's more large event style events and I don't know, quests or whatever it is that they're going to do for the progressions for that, we might do something different. So while I hate to say we need to wait and see, we need to wait and see. I don't want to set some bad expectations to you guys and then change it on y'all and present something that appears extremely chaotic, even though our name's Chaos Theory. That appears extremely chaotic and unorganized. I don't want to set really bad expectations without having a relatively decent amount of information of where the game's actually going to be going. And then lastly, I just want to make sure everybody is aware of the different social media types of things that we have going on. Grizz, I'm going to briefly touch on these. If you want to add anything, feel free. But we've got a lot of different social media slash recruitment slash advertising type of avenues. We've got obviously our website. We've got Twitter feeds. We've got a Facebook group. We've got a YouTube channel. We've got a Twitch channel. This is being recorded right now by Grizz. He's going to post it on both the Twitch and the YouTube. So we've got a lot of different avenues, and the purpose for that is I want to be able to recruit people, and I don't want it to be just a numbers game. I want to recruit the right people into the group. One of the ways you do that is to try to get a large pool and then have your recruitment process weed out those that you don't want in, and keep the people that you do want in. So I want to be able to touch as many leads as possible, and then whittle that down to the right people into the group. So we've got all those different medias. We also have behind the scenes some Google Analytics to understand where our leads are coming from, so that we can either disband efforts or improve efforts in the different areas that we are attempting to put that advertising and recruiting out. Grizz, you want to touch on anything on those?
Sure. As Vorta said, starting Phase 3, we will be doing a lot of streaming for the game. I think that'll help a lot with recruitment and stuff. If anybody is interested in getting or learning how to stream or helping me stream so we can keep the stream going, as long as possible during the day, just get in touch with me or Vorta, and we can give you the server info, and I can teach you what software you need and stuff like that to stream and the setup that you need. Also, a lot of work has been done on the website, thanks to Trojan and Myson. If anybody has any suggestions for banner ideas or anything like that, just get with me, and we can get working on that. Pretty much that's it for me.
Okay. All right. So from an agenda standpoint, those are all the topics that I wanted to touch on. I also wanted to open it up to anybody here who had any questions, thoughts, concerns. It's free game, so ask away or.
All right. I'd just like to say real quick, just thank you for taking the time to do this, because it really does improve my confidence with how this entire link shell or company or whatever it's going to be called when this game comes out is going to succeed.
Not a problem. It's my pleasure.
I just want to say I'm glad to see the people that are here. From my experience in game with the individuals that are on TeamSpeak at the moment, we all seem to be the leaders of the groups, or we seem to be online the most, or the most active online at this point in time. So I'm glad to see everybody that is on at this moment. And I had a few questions from some guys, so that's why I didn't mention it to some of the other leaders, in which case that's why tonight happened. So thanks for everybody coming.
Also, I'd like to mention to people that aren't here, we are, a lot of us, Aleshna, Trojan, Myson, Vorda, we like to stop in pretty much every day. We're here even when the beta's not running, whether we're playing other games together or just talking or working on the website together. I mean, it's a community effort. You know, they say it takes a village, but um, feel free to stop in whenever you guys want. I mean, we're not here just for Final Fantasy. If you need somebody to talk to or anything, just stop in, say hi.
I'd like to say something else about the leadership too. The qualities or the roles that leaders are going to play are wide and varied. So being a leader might not necessarily mean that you're leading the huge endgame dungeons or whatever. It just means taking a leadership role in the shell to organize whatever, or it means several different things.
And I would add on to that in most cases, those leadership roles are thankless positions.
You mean the big endgame ones?
No, I'm saying most leadership roles just by themselves are in most cases inherently thankless positions, in the sense that, you're probably not going to have a lot of people that you're leading or whatnot, patting you on your back. I mean, you need to be self-motivated. I'm not saying you're not going to be appreciated. That's not what I'm saying. But more often than not, you hear more of the negative stuff than you do of the positive stuff, is what I mean by that.
Well, then, in that case, I officially declare March 15th as Leadership Appreciation Day.
There you go.
This is being recorded, so now it's official.
Wow, good thing there's only an hour left.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of ripped on that one right there, man.
What other questions you guys have?
Just anything I would ask, probably break NDA, but like, what are you guys looking forward to most?
And I don't really think this is like the point in time. You covered a lot of the leadership and the basic stuff that you really need to know before the game actually gets swinging.
At the same time, because you guys were here, like I say, we had 80 members on the website. There's a ton of people that we're trying to communicate this through and get this information out to. So please feel free to spread the word and so on and so forth for us, because we can only do so much as the unit we are.
Yeah, and I would add to that, just from an expectation setting standpoint for everybody that's on right now, while there's 80 people who are registered on their site, I promise you there is not going to be 80 people with us when the game starts. It's not going to happen. I would be very surprised if there's even half that number. That doesn't mean that we have a shitty group. Excuse my language, sorry. That doesn't mean we have a crappy group. What it means is that over the course of people registering and a life happening, they're either just not with us, they forgot about us, or they found other groups. So that should not be and should not discourage anybody. I want to set that expectation. It's going to happen.
Well, and from my experience with running recruitment in Final Fantasy XI and in other games and in this game, it's generally about a 50% drop off anyway regularly, well, game's on or not, because of personality conflicts or whatever it may be, right? But that's normal. But still, you still got a lot of people.
And we also had a slowdown in recruitment, and I'm probably going to attribute it to the questions that we added. We added some questions that actually force people to type some decent lines of text so we can get a better understanding of those individuals. As soon as we did that, we actually had a pretty huge downturn in the applications, which is not a bad thing, because as I mentioned earlier, we want to weed out some of those individuals that we don't want here. If the people don't want to type, type things and let us know about them. There's probably, well, obviously there's a lack of initiative right there, but obviously they don't want to field the other side of the coin, and that's making sure that they're a right fit for us. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and exactly. You the clan jumpers, as they call them.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think quality over quantity is better always, anyways.
I 100% agree with that as well.
I think that for me, that actually answers your question that you had a little bit ago, Grizz, about what are you looking forward to the most. Because after Final Fantasy XI, I tried Rift, I tried a couple others. I guess even Final Fantasy XIV, the first version, and I kept on missing that group, that home group. And to be honest, graphics, gameplay, whatever, with 2.0, I'm really looking forward to just having a solid group of people to play with again.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, I'm going to end the recording here. Seems we're pretty much... Are we...
Just let me ask one more time. Anybody have any other questions for me? I know... me personally, I like doing these types of settings. If you guys have any other suggestions on how to maybe have a better way to do this, I'm open for those suggestions. But from my experience in real life, this is probably one of the best ways to not only get information out, but also to be able to have some open dialogue with everybody in the shell. So if everybody's cool with this type of setting, then what I would probably commit to is a cadence of this type of setting at least once every other month. That may change depending on what is or is not going on in the game, changes that are going on in the game or in the shell. So we'll throttle that, but I think from a cadence standpoint, we could probably just kind of set an expectation that we would have this type of open forum town hall type of meeting maybe once every other month. And as needed any other time. You guys have any other suggestions on that? Do you like this format or any other suggestions?
Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's definitely better than the way we did it in Final Fantasy XI.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it's like we had discussed this earlier. Another reason why having these meetings are good also with the stream is we can watch some of our old raid runs or and discuss them as we're watching them over the stream. And everybody can discuss it, and we can discuss strategies, and stuff like that.
So, I'm gonna maybe call a couple people out. Aleshna, Biff, are you guys good with this type of format? Is this valuable to you guys?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be here in the future. I mean, if you continue to do something like this.
But yeah, I agree totally with that. It is a good idea to have it recorded. It's just like anything, something that is valuable or something that has worth. You'd obviously want to watch it more than once, to make sure you get everything you can out of it.
Yeah, I like this.
Okay. All right. So what we'll do is I'll try to get them on the calendar just so they're there. If I have to go out of town on business, obviously we might have to move them, stuff like that. But because this is one of those things that I would not want to delegate. I want to be the person who's leading these things in most cases. So it's probably gonna, no offense, it's probably gonna revolve around me on these meetings for my timeline. But I'll try to get them on the calendar so everybody kind of knows when they are. And I'll communicate if we need to move those. And then also we'll work either with the Twitter feed or the news section on the site for if we're going to do one outside of that normal cadence. So we'll probably put one on the calendar for May, 2 months from now. But if we get some movement in the game to where we're all able to get on. Probably a week or so after, maybe even a week before everything gets turned on. We'll probably have another one just to kind of get everybody on the same page and maybe get the balls rolling with respect to getting some of those in-game leadership positions filled. Is that cool with everybody?
Sounds good to me.
It sounds great.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, if nobody has any other questions, it's 10 o'clock, and Grizz, you can stop recording.
Well, thank you everybody who showed up, and thank you for those who stopped in to listen. Have a good night.